Okay, I think we will make a start. So good afternoon and welcome to the Post-M5 Change Control and Engagement webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Helen Richardson. I am the MHHS Business Change Lead, and part of my role covers participant engagement, which includes this series of webinars. You'll see on the screen in front of you the agenda for today's session, and you'll notice we've got a lot of content to take you through in the next 45 minutes. I'm going to give a quick introduction of each of these sections shortly. We're aiming for 30 minutes of presenting the content to you and saving 15 minutes at the end for Q&A. So if we move to the next slide, how can you ask your questions? So please use slido.com to ask and vote for questions throughout the webinar. Got the hashtag MHHS, that will make sure you're on the right slide poll. We're not usually able to get through all of them in the session itself. So what we'll do is we'll respond to the most highly voted questions at the end of the webinar. And if we're unable to cover them all, we will follow up with the questions in a write-up afterwards. So they will all get answered. So just again, that's hashtag MHHS on the Slido, and you'll see it across the bottom of the slides going forward. So as I said, just briefly, what are we covering today? So we are moving into a new stage of the programme and evolving the approach to design change as we support participants going into their build and test phases. The purpose of this webinar is to provide you with an overview of the new design change process, which was approved at the Design Advisory Group last week. We want to encourage you to remain engaged with the design and to ensure you know how to provide feedback or suggest changes to the design as we progress into this next stage. So as part of that, we will be introducing you to the new Design Authority Group, responsible for approving minor changes to the design going forward. We will also look at upcoming key dates and ways to engage with the design. And finally, as always, I said we'll leave time at the end for questions, especially those you think the wider participant community would also like to hear the answer to. And as always, we will be circulating these slides and a recording in this week's clock, and we will add the complete Q&A to the website as soon as possible. So with that, I will hand over to Paul.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just as a brief introduction, my name is Paul Pettit. I head up the LDP SI design team. What we're going to be doing, as my colleague Helen said, is take you through the design change process. Excuse me, as we move into the next big phase of the project in design, build, and test. So, as part of that, what we've adopted is learnings from the faster switching program, and where we're recognizing that we will get change to design from a number of different areas, and so we'll walk through that in a bit more detail. So if I can just go to the next slide, thank you. As this diagram tries to depict, change can come through from many areas, and not just change, but issues, design issues. And we're dealing with those at the moment. We have the design mailbox, which I think a number of parties have been using over the last few months to communicate with the design team. We now look at, and that design mailbox will continue. We look at that on a daily basis. We're triaging those calls at the moment, and that will continue. And what this is about is basically is an evolution post. Now we have a baseline design, which was approved obviously in October. We have the work-off plan coming to a conclusion by the end of the month, and we're looking to basically stand up those future ways of working. So we went to DAG, and we've spoken to DAG about the next phase. So what we're looking to do is basically understand where change can come from, and what we didn't want to do was basically replace the change process. So the program change process still remains. It's always been there, and it will remain. We are obviously conscious that participants can raise program changes, but also be conscious that participants can look at the design and seek clarification and raise issues against that design. And this scenario here, what we've got on the screen, is just trying to depict the fact that, yeah, a design issue can be identified. We are looking to basically stand up a group called the Design Authority that will look at those issues that come in, and that Design Authority will have delegated authority from DAG to basically look at minor changes, and we'll look at the definition of those minor changes later on, and the constituencies of the Design Authority. But basically, we've got a routine through a design issue that gets looked at, gets triaged, and that may go out to the Design Authority to say, look, we've got a potential issue here. Let's investigate that further. The other routine, obviously, is the through the program change. So a program change will come in, and going forward, if there is an impact on the design, again, that will come back through DAG into the Design Authority. So what we're trying to show here is basically there is just one change process. This is basically just trying to recognise that it may come in from different areas going forward. The Design Authority and this process that we're looking at sits under the Design Advisory Group. The Design Advisory Group has been there, and that will endure. What we have is this concept of the Design Authority, and it's really to potentially replace the BPRWG, the TDWG, possibly the Security Working Group as well. But that's a topic of discussion, I think, at the next DAG meeting in February, looking at the enduring terms of reference for those groups. But it's recognised that change, even though we have a baseline design, even though we have a signed off design, the design will change going forward. And what we're looking to do is put the processes and the groups in place to basically facilitate that change as seamlessly and as painlessly as possible. If any of you have worked on programs before, change is inevitable. It will happen, and it's just making sure that we use the best capabilities that we have around, which is primarily the participants and yourselves, to basically support that change and input into that. So the Design Authority has been put together under the auspices of the Design Advisory Group. There is a delegated authority to look at minor and what we call categorized minor and major changes. And to do that, what we also are looking to put together, so we have the Design Advisory Group at level 3. We have a level 4 working group called the Design Authority. As I said, the SDWG may or may not persist in its current format. Let's say that's a level 4 working group, but that's a closed group. The Design Authority is also going to be a closed group made up of constituency members, very similar to DAG. But what will happen, the Design Authority will, when a change comes in or potential change comes in, it will spin off a working group that will look at that change or look at that issue in more detail. Those groups are open to everybody. And what we're trying to do is remove potentially a lot of noise from the Design Advisory Group. So things like minor changes, typos, etc. That where we've noticed an inconsistency in the design, or a typo within the design. We are looking for the Design Authority Group. They will have the authority to basically say, yep, that is an issue, or not an issue, it's a typo, and give approval to go and make that change. And then those minor changes, the cadence of those changes will be fairly frequent. At the moment, we think a monthly update to artifacts, but all of this is going to be very well signposted in the design newsletters, the collaboration base, so we can actually so everybody can basically see what's coming up, what's going to be discussed in DAG, what's going to be discussed in DA, and where a change comes in, you will have opportunity to speak to your constituency reps. Now, as part of the DAG meeting on the 11th, there was a call out for the DAG representatives to basically put forward nominations for the design authority groups. So that design authority group will be made up of members of the SRO, subject matter experts from the SRO and LDP, basically the program design team collectively, and then follow underneath that they will spawn off the design issue resolution groups, and they will be open to everybody, and they will work up the change or work up the issue, and they will make a recommendation back through design authority and back up into DAG. And now, if that change is deemed to be bigger and what would do a larger change, yeah, we will basically look to make a recommendation. They'll look to make a recommendation back to DAG to raise a particular program change request if it's going to impact on time, money, etc. The design authority also, from a authority point of view, it will have to be a unanimous decision with the constituencies. If unanimous decisions can't be reached, then again that will be escalated back up to the design authority to address. Sorry, I've got that.
Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so if we just look a bit more closely at minor changes, as I said before, yeah, minor changes, an issue that needs clarification back to the raiser, and so we're doing that at the moment through the design mailbox. It's there to fix administrative errors, typos that has no material impact on parties, other than improving, as I said, improving the clarity of the design. Again, it's got to be unanimous within the members of the design authority, and before they meet, yeah, all the papers will be published, bringing up what's going to be covered at those meetings 5 working days beforehand. So there's opportunity to speak to your representatives going to those meetings. Major changes is anything, as it says there, anything that really isn't minor. Such changes, yeah, will come out to the issue resolution sub-working groups with a recommendation going back to DAG. And let me say, we've already spoken about the unanimous agreement amongst the constituency reps, and that's important because everybody will get an opportunity to comment, and if there's anything that isn't agreed, again, it will go back to DAG. But this is really about removing all these typos and minor clarifications away from level three working group. The initial design authority group will meet monthly, but we've also said to DAG and had agreement with DAG that we were going to review this after 3 months, because we want to see and make sure that the process is working. The process is working from the types of change that are coming in, involvement from the reps, the amount of change we're getting in, because at the moment, yeah, we don't know, and so we want to make sure that is reviewed. And as I said, this whole process is set about to potentially remove remove the burden from DAG, but also being cognizant that BPRWG, TDWG and SDWG that have been around for the last almost 12 months are likely to be basically to be removed. If we can move on. Okay, just to there's a very high level run through. Well, upcoming events. Obviously, we have the inaugural Design Authority meeting. That's planned for the 26th of this month, and that's going to be a general introduction. There's papers will be issued to that, along with the terms of reference and some examples of the types of minor changes that we're looking to do and to address. Obviously, there is the M5 work-off plan and baselining those design artifacts. That's scheduled for DAG on the 1st of February, and this process will really kick off following that process. From the 1st of February, we are looking to basically upload and uplift the design artifacts to version 5. So that's everything that was baselined back in October, plus the work-off plan. And again, that's all pending approval from the information on the 1st. As part of that, we're looking at supporting the design. We've looked at and created a number of views that we've made available on the collaboration portal, and these are interactive views that basically support and augment the design. So if you as a supplier or an IDNO, you can look at these models and then see what the design and how that design impacts you. So hopefully that will provide you additional support as you go into your design, build and test phases of the program. So how do you raise changes? Basically, you've got the design mailbox is the key input into this. You can raise changes and issues through the design mailbox. The support, again, through the design mailbox. We triage this on a daily basis, and so we're looking at this and we will pick up whether it's a clarification, an issue. There's the access to design artifacts on the collaboration base, and the link is there below. That will be, as I said, that will be updated with the latest design that gets baseline and hopefully approved on the 1st of February. And then there's technical support for if you've got access issues getting onto the collaboration base, etc. You can log a call with the IT support desk. I think that was a fairly quick canter through of the process. It's not a huge change. The interfaces into the design team remain the same. As I said, just to summarize, we're looking to reduce noise going up to DAG, but also provide a mechanism to quickly make minor typographical changes to the design to aid clarity going forward. That's probably it from me. I'll hand over to Marina, sorry, and to close off, and then we'll get into the interesting Slido questions.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much, Paul. That was very interesting and great to see the design evolving and us evolving with it. So we'll go to our most popular question first. How will change be managed for processes where there are no documents or processes to change, i.e. transition and migration?
Transition and migration, those documents will come in later on. They're being developed at the moment, and as part of the migration design, I know they're using artifacts that have been derived from the core design. So they will feature, and they will feature in the design going forward. So there will be artifacts by which change will occur on, and we'll also be very cognizant of the fact that whilst the core design is baselined, migration and obviously future transition will need to basically reflect those transition states as we move through the different phases of the program. So there will be artifacts by which change will occur against.
Yeah, when we get to that stage, we'll be
Yeah.
managing the process then as well.
Yeah.
Fab, thank you very much. One on the security design working group. So if the SDWG does not continue, where will design security elements be discussed, given it is and will be a closed forum?
That really is one, as I said, we left it on the slide because it is a bit of a, not an anomaly, but basically it is, as you recognise it is a closed group. So that will be discussed at the design advisory group, I believe, as they look at their terms of reference on the 1st of February.
Thank you. What is happening with work-off items that haven't actually been resolved for baselining as per the work-off plan?
They are being addressed at the moment. I know that there's been 2 requests for change requests at the last DAG that were being removed from the work-off plan. As far as I'm aware, yeah, the design team they're obviously addressing the comments that came in, which closed on Friday last week, and they'll be doing their assurance. Well, gone through the assurance, doing their assurance groups, and that will be presented to DAG on the 1st with a recommendation about how to proceed.
1st of February, brilliant. Thank you, Paul. I think this is quite an interesting one. When will there be an FAQ where participants can see if their query or question has already been raised and addressed by the programme? I believe this is in reference to the design change.
Just to be clear, there's, as part of the work-off plan, there's a comments log, and that's going to be addressed before, I believe they'll be responded to before it goes to DAG on the 1st. We're working at the moment, putting together a knowledge base, because we saw this. A lot of the stuff that we're triaging at the moment, we've had similar questions come up from different parties. So we're working to basically put together a knowledge base that we've made available on the collaboration base, and that basically encompasses comments that have come up in the past, clarifications that have come up in the past, and we're looking to basically make that available to parties to effectively as a self-service level 0 type approach to finding hopefully the answer that you have to any questions that came up. Other than that, it will come into we're happy to take calls through the design mailbox.
Brilliant. And then if a participant wants to raise a query or potential change to the design, how can they see if somebody else has raised that?
Right, there will be a log. We are looking to publish a change log, design change log on the collaboration base. We are looking to basically have all the papers obviously on the collaboration base. We want to be as open and transparent about this as is practically possible. So all this information will be available on the collaboration base.
Yes, brilliant. That is our #1 source of information about the design. Fantastic, thank you. Issues currently on the work-off list that haven't had meetings or discussions yet or had agreed updates. I think we've just discussed this already. These will now go to, these now go to the DA? I think they'll be going to the design advisory.
I don't know whether I've got any colleagues on the phone, but that's something that's being picked up as part of the work-off plan, and there'll be a recommendation on anything that's outstanding, either going to, we'll be going back to the design advisory group.
Thank you. We've had a few more about the change log, which I'm just going to skip through because we've answered that. What are the limits to the design authority changes? When does a typo become a larger impacting change?
If it impacts a party, if there is, I mean, we are looking. We made a conscious decision to basically start small, because what we didn't want to do was basically open it up to a lot of discussion about, well, if we're changing processes, etc., and the impacts. We are looking initially at typos, and so just to improve clarity. And that was one of the reasons why we and DAG agreed that you can have the delegate, like design authority, you can have the delegated authority, but it has to be unanimous, because what we didn't want to do was give advantage or disadvantage to any group or of participant. This was about basically just handling, typo changes to start with, and just very much starting very small.
Thank you. One on will the updated artifacts have a change summary log to help participants understand which parts of the baseline artifact has been changed?
Absolutely. We will have there'll be release notes. We've developed a way of basically, a lot of the design at the moment is through Visio diagrams, which, by their very nature, are very hard to do change control. It was one of the things that was asked for, if I remember, back on DAG of 31st of October, was about how we track changes on the Visio diagrams. We have a process now, we have a method that basically highlights changes to the Visio diagrams, so we can now do change control between those diagrams. So there will be full release notes about what's changed, when it's changed, why it's changed, etc. So that will all be part of the release documentation as artifacts change going forward.
Great, thank you. That's very clear. This is another popular question. Are the physical interface specs JSON files also under change control? It's suggested here that a number of changes to these haven't been controlled or communicated.
Going forward, they will be under change control.
Fantastic. And if we just skip to slide 11, notes here, if the design authority is a similar format to the design advisory group, then why does slide 11 note industry observers? I think that's...
Industry observers is basically, this is the IPA Ofgem bodies as industry observers.
Nearly there, but got a couple more to go. So just to check, do all changes go to the DCTG and then decide if it is a program change or design change and where it goes next? Good to confirm DCTG.
Yeah, the
triage group.
Basically the triage group is happening all the time. I mean, we are constantly looking at that. It will basically go to the design authority group to say, like, if something comes in, where does this go? And so, as I said in one of those previous slides, there is a routing. If it comes in through the design mailbox, it will be triaged, and it will, if it's a typo, we will look to basically progress that using the DA. If it's a design issue that's got the potential for change, the DA and the DAG will basically make a recommendation. Yes, we need this worked up, and that may then become a program change because it impacts time, cost, and more than a number of parties.
Thank you. How does the design authority maintain consistency of design? For example, if latecomers arrive wanting to change design decisions already taken by the design change process?
Well, hopefully by having the knowledge base, parties can come, and any party can come in to see where those decisions have been made before. As I said, we're looking to be as open and transparent. That's not to say that the design could change later on. Circumstances could mean that a previous design decision not to change something could be reopened, but it needs to be cognizant of the fact that this decision was made back in history, and that there may be a very good reason not to make that change in the first time it came around. But if there is a need to make that change in the future, then yeah, it could be opened up again. But that's not to say that don't get me wrong, every change that if someone didn't agree it should have been changed, opening everything up again, and that's something that we're just going to have to monitor. And we're not looking to open up the design wholesale again. The design has been signed off by industry going forward.
Thank you. This is one on the design issue resolution subgroup.
Yeah.
It's saying, is it efficient for a recommendation from the DIRG to go to the design authority before DAG? Is this not a sort of unnecessary delay?
No, I mean we're looking. I mean, output from that, what we want to do is basically it's the design authorities that asked for the subgroup to be put together, and what we're looking to do is hold the DA meetings very shortly before the DAG every month. So that's got to be worked. That will have to be worked up. So we're not looking to make that a delay feature at all. As I said, this is a new process. We are very keen that basically this process is reviewed after 3 months just to see how it's working, and if there's improvements to be made with regards to timings, efficiency, the type of change that's coming through. Yeah, we'll take that on board.
Brilliant, thank you. And one on minor changes. You recognise that change is minor unless it impacts a party. Who decides if the change impacts a party?
Well, that basically, as I said, the changes that are going to be discussed will be made available prior to the design authority group. So if a participant thinks that's going to impact them, they need to speak to their DA rep. The DA rep will basically, state that at the review meeting. And again, it's got to be a unanimous approval for that minor change to take place. So there is a safety blanket or safety net there, and if that can't be agreed, then that will go back up to DAG.
And on that unanimous agreement, the question here is, how do the constituency representatives get feedback from their constituency? How do we all get to see the issue? Well, I believe that's probably up to the constituency rep to say.
Yes, yeah. Though all that information will be available on the website.
Thank you. And then one from Sean: is there a way of confirming any change that is suggested to the overall design, ensuring that it is also aligned with other groups within the overall project to avoid conflicts? I guess to avoid being siloed.
Yeah, sorry, can you just say that again?
Is there a way of confirming any change that is suggested to the overall design is also aligned with other groups within the programme to avoid conflicts?
Yes, that will come through. That's likely to be a programme change request. So there'll be a
Impact assessment.
a full impact assessment on that.
Thank you. And last couple.
Okay.
You've done very well with all these questions. Once the messages are defined by code drafting in EMAR in the summer, then presumably the change notification will be captured there. Is that...
Yes, I mean the regulatory code. I mean we very much see the design and the design artifacts sitting alongside and supporting regulatory code change. So yes, they will be aligned.
Last two: will changes to the qualification approach and plan also be managed through this process once this is baselined?
Yeah, very similar. I mean, something like that changes qualification times, stuff like that. That's likely to be coming straight as a program change request, and that will have to be impact assessed.
And then the last question is again just asking about tracking the status of change requests, and as we've said, we'll have a change log.
Yes, there will be. Yeah, there'll be a change log, and everything will be version controlled. We're looking to say, but everything's planning to be basically put to version 5 at the end of the work off plan from the 1st of that's happening on the 1st of February, and then we will increment thereafter. So we're not looking to do wholesale updates of everything to version 6, version 7. So individual artifacts will be incremented as they need updating.
Amazing. Thank you very much. That was very useful and very interesting. So thank you, Paul. And thank you everyone for joining today's session. Really appreciate you taking the time. A couple of notes here. This is so all the different ways that you can get in touch with the programme. We're having loads of meetings at the moment with different constituencies from the PPC team. And if you'd like a member of the design team to join one of those meetings, please just let us know. The design team obviously would love to help and advise if you've got any queries. Thank you to everyone who joined the round 3 replan drop-in session this morning. We've got another one from 2 till 3:30 this afternoon. So if you'd like to join and you haven't received an invite, please let the PMO team know. And then finally, just a reminder of the design mailbox, design@mhhsprogramme.co.uk. Any queries, any suggestions, please send them in. Thank you very much for joining. There's a poll on Slido, which we'd love you to fill out. And if you've got any feedback, please do get in touch with the PPC team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.